Welcome to Search for Signs. My name is Gary Willing. If this information interests you, please press the like and subscribe button and press the bell for notifications. Now, if you vaguely know who Benjamin Creme was, you're probably unaware of the amount of time that he sacrificed making known the presence of Maitreya and the Masters of Wisdom, and the countless hours that he spent helping to publish his books, give talks, lectures, radio and television interviews around the world, helping to edit and publish International magazine every month and so forth, answering just a barrage of questions that people always had for him wherever he was, taking the time to do that, putting on conferences that he did, and there was a lot more that he did too, but that's, just to name a few, right? Now, out of all that work that he put into that, to the effort of making known the Masters of Wisdom and Maitreya, he never got any money for any of that. He volunteered his time, 100% was volunteered. And even the money that he made and generated off the magazine and the books went right back into the reappearance work. He didn't take any money for it. Now, his profession was he was a painter. And he must have been doing something right, because the times that I saw him, he didn't live lavishly or anything, but he also didn't look like a starving artist either, so he must have made some money some kind of way. I know his paintings were pretty expensive, so if he sold a few of them a year or whatever, he probably did pretty well. But he also started working with a couple gentlemen over the years of producing lithographs for a select number of his paintings. And for what I think he did it once a year. He would put out a new lithograph series every year. And there were about 300 or 400 lithographs that he would do in that series or whatever. And it was always great excitement, I know for myself, when I used to go out to the conference every year in San Francisco, because that's where he would kind of introduce his lithographs to the group. And he would take time out of the conference to kind of describe what the painting was about. And it was always incredible to hear the esoteric meaning and the depth of the meanings behind these really simple and modern art that he did, And he would, of course, sell, to the group. And he wasn't a hard sale kind of guy. He kind of had the same approach to his art as he did to this work, which was, you either believe it or you don't, right? You either buy his artwork or you don't. He didn't care. So he never pushed anybody to buy it. He wasn't like that kind of thing. But it was just, it was always available to us if you wanted to buy one. And I bought a few of his lithographs over the years, and they're still hanging on my wall. I don't get tired of them or anything like that. But it was kind of sad because a number of years ago, one of the gentlemen that he was working with that was helping to sell his lithographs, somebody stole like close to or a little over $1 million worth of these lithographs. And it was also remarkable, Ben's reaction to it. He was never emotional about it. He never, said, well, we're going to press charges to the full extent of the law. He handled it with such detachment and grace. I know I couldn't have done it because I've had artwork stolen from me, and, I was pretty pissed about it. So, it was like, but it was remarkable to see how to react when tragedy strikes you, and he didn't talk a lot about it or at all, really. And I say all this to say is that I was talking with a very dear friend of mine yesterday, and she just happened to mention that they've recovered over 1,000 of his lithographs that were stolen. And they're still going through the process of how they even got into this storage unit. But basically what it was is a guy's relative passed away, and he was going through the storage unit of this person and found all these lithographs in there. And thankfully this person was an honest soul and was like, wait a minute, this isn't supposed to be in there. So he called the cops, and they were like, oh, we have an open case on this. And they were returned back to the rightful owner, which was Mick, And I know for myself, as much as I love and appreciate Benjamin Creme as a person, I also really love and appreciate his art. So I felt relieved to hear that there was a happy ending to this, tragedy that happened years ago. And so, like I said, they don't know how they got there. They don't know what the person's connection was with any of this stuff or the dead relative or whatever. But thankfully, this person, thought enough to call the police, and, it's been recovered. Now, it was interesting, and I always thought myself to be really lucky and fortunate to hear Benjamin Creme describe his paintings or his lithographs or whatever from him, because there, like I said, there's such a meaning behind every one of his paintings, especially his later work. And to see the evolution of when he started painting as a young man to later on in life was just incredible. And like I said, I find them very, very beautiful pieces. They're not everybody's cup of tea, as he would say, but I like them. Now, one of the masters, the master Joao Kuhl, wrote through Alice Bailey, around the turn of the last century, that there would be another great Renaissance like the Renaissance, 400 or 500 years ago. And I know the people that I've spoken with that read the same thing, they seem to think that he said something about the year 2020. I don't remember a specific year, so I couldn't tell you, but, I think it's going to kind of correlate with Maitreya coming out known for who he is. I mean, Maitreya is already out on the world now, on the world stage, giving very subtle, messages on TV through the interviews that he's doing politically or socially or whatever he's doing. But when he's out known for who he is, I think that's when, and these masters start to come out, that this another great Renaissance will take place. And according to the master Joao Kuhl, it's the art of today versus the art of the future. He compared it to a child playing with building blocks in the yard to the building of the Sistine Chapel. That's how great of difference there will be between what we know of art today to the art of the future. And hearing Benjamin Creme talk about painting, in my humble opinion, I think Benjamin Creme's artwork will help to inspire that Renaissance. His art, just the color of it and the meaning behind it and everything was so deep, But he said something about painting one time that just, it inspired me to paint myself, really. He said, how did he describe it? He said that art was one of the most fantastic inventions ever invented. And he said just the fact of taking a paintbrush, right, and putting it to paint and putting it on a canvas helps to bring somebody in alignment with their own soul. He said painting is just an incredible invention. And like I said, I know it inspired me to start painting myself, but the Master DK described artwork of the future as being the art of people's lives, that we will create a life heretofore unheard of. I know there are people on YouTube and, so forth talking about create your own life and that's not really what they're talking about. But they're talking about what the master was talking about from start to finish, from birth to death. Your life is the persons will create their own life. And I don't really know what that means and its ramifications, but I can only imagine the beginning of it, right? So this great Renaissance will help bring about people's creativity all around the world. And these masters, I'm sure, will help teach us how to be more creative, how to live true to who our souls are, because our soul knows nothing but creativity. Creativity is service. Service is creativity. They're one and the same, right? So traditional painting, traditional art like Benjamin Creme really reflects that spiritual quality of who the man was that painted it. And that's why it's so incredible. So like I said, I'm saying all this to say that I'm very happy and relieved that Benjamin Creme's lithographs were recovered, because they need to be out for the world. People need to appreciate them all over the world, not just sitting in some storage locker. But the other thing is that he really represents and really demonstrated how to act when tragedy strikes. So there's a lot of positives to this. But anyway, I just wanted to share this with you. Remember to take action and help SOP save our planet. Thanks for listening, and we look forward to talking to you again in future videos.